vibe. Come let we lime, come let we vibe. Lime vibe. Oh, lime vibe.
Hello and welcome once again to another Lime Vibe conversation here. My name is Yuri Kemp. I'm the host, and I'm joined by my guest, Mr. Joshua Forte from Barbados. How you doing, Joshua?
I'm doing great, Yuri. How are you?
All is good, all is good. Apparently, you've been doing a lot of good works over there in Barbados with the Sargassum seaweed, man. Tell me a bit about that. Before we get into that, though, tell me a bit about yourself. Did you grow up in Barbados?
Yeah, definitely did grow up in Barbados my entire life.
Okay. Where did you go to school?
Went to school at the Alexandra School in the north of the island, Beacon of the North. Yeah.
Beacon of the North. Okay. Did you go to any tertiary education, UWI?
Yeah, initially I did. Went to UWI Hill campus, but that was short-lived due to me becoming seriously ill.
Okay.
And that was the start of the progression of how Red Diamond Compost came to fruition.
Okay. So tell me, how old are you, Joshua?
29 turned 29 this year.
29 this year. Okay, how was it growing up in Barbados, man? Tell me a bit about
that. Well, for me, it was back in the time of being outside, as much as possible every single day if you could, riding around, finding fruit trees to to go and get, some type of fruit from. Yeah, a lot of my childhood, especially when my grandmother was around. My grandmother is actually from St. Lucia.
Okay.
And being with her in the garden, that background of the bush tea, the herbs, and always had this passion for nature. So it's either I'm outside in that type of environment, or I'm inside watching television. And that could be anything from cartoons to National Geographic.
Okay, yeah. I got you. So did you study agriculture at all during your time in school or no?
No. Didn't study it in any serious way. I actually, didn't have that particular interest when I was in school in terms of agriculture. Yeah.
You wasn't interested at all in agriculture, not in school?
Yeah, no, not from a career perspective. During that time, my pursuits were set on mechanical engineering.
Really? That's a big shift.
I mean, it depends how you look at it, because at the end of the day, still what I do in the space of agriculture and the biotech space is a lot of designing of systems, and the concepts, the products that we use is all designing. So it's kind of similar principles or approach, the way you look at it, and just applying it to a different area.
Okay, got you. So how did you end up working with Sargassum in the first place? Because tell us what you do first of all with Sargassum. How do you end up working with Sargassum?
So the main thing that we do is we create a biostimulant from it. And for those who may not know what an agricultural biostimulant is, it's a additive that you would use to stimulate responses from the plants. This could be looking at root growth, increasing fruiting. This could be improving the plant's tolerance to stresses. So you could think of it as a supplement for plants. So this is the main product that we create from the Sargassum, a liquid biostimulant, and then from the byproduct of that process, we would take that remaining Sargassum material into composting as well.
Composting, okay. So how lucrative is that business now?
Well, it is, I would say, it's a slow start within the region in particular, because you have one aspect of biostimulants being something relatively new, in the agricultural sector commercially. So it's not necessarily been used, in a widespread basis. But now with the increases of the effects of climate change, declining yields and poor soil quality, farmers are having to find ways to help rebuild the health of their soils and manage the nutrients more efficiently, especially with the increases in fertilizer prices. So that shift has helped us a lot, and people started seeing the need for the products that we're creating. And then the other side of it is making sure that, you know, we have all our R&D sorted out, and we actually still have a few trials going on this year that should be wrapping up pretty soon.
Okay, a few trials. You bring in any new products. So tell us exactly what you produce. You produce like a fertilizer, oil quality fertilizer, right? So
So that
tell us,
again,
you create a fertilizer, don't you?
similar to fertilizer, but it's primarily a biostimulant from the sargassum.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So what kind of machinery do you use with that? I mean, what kind of machinery comes with that? That sounds very sophisticated.
Yeah, I mean, you know, starting off without that type of machinery was
Mm,
a extremely difficult process to try to figure out, like, how can we literally bootstrap this with nothing,
mm,
and start getting close to first having a product that actually works.
mhm,
But then, you know, we got to design the actual commercial process behind it so we could make this at a commercial scale and consistently, and
mm,
you know, in terms of the quality.
mhm,
So you're looking at, you know, a lot of tanks primarily, you know,
mm,
depending on the specific processes we go through. You know, you would have different types of commercial machinery, but it's
mm,
any type of general purpose machinery that you would
mm.
find in a you know, possibly pharmaceutical lab, or even a chemical company that might be doing detergents and stuff. Similar
Okay,
types of
okay,
screens, tanks. Yeah.
okay. That's cool. So you run that from a company called Diamond Compost, right? So tell us about the company. How's the company been developing over the last several years? When did you start the company, and how is it performing now?
So I first came up with the idea for Red Diamond in 2014 when I first decided to launch. And you know, at that stage we were really just looking at setting up a composting company producing different types of soil amendments.
Mm,
And we have evolved a lot over the past few years, for one reason being, you know, lack of the initial resources to actually set that up at scale so
mm,
it would be economically feasible.
mm.
And then the other side of it was, you know, the huge influx of sargassum coming into the region. That
Yes.
was more or less a godsend for us that allowed me to kind of pivot,
Yeah.
because you had this abundance of raw material to work with,
Mhm.
and that's what I was able to use to build a lot of traction in those early years with the research and development that we were doing at that time.
So there's a lot of sargassum in the region. Now, tell us a bit about the sargassum. How much of a problem is the sargassum seaweed to the Caribbean?
It is a major problem, and is a huge headache. And a big part of the issue is that there is still, I mean, we're probably 10, 11 years in of dealing with these influxes of sargassum, but
Mm,
there's still no real infrastructure in place to effectively, you know, manage it, deal with it, get rid of it, you know, whichever angle you're looking at.
mm,
So we still have our coastal communities being bombarded with it,
mm,
having to deal with those stenches, you know, the hydrogen sulfide that it produces when it starts to rot on the beach.
mhm.
Then you have the tourism community that's been affected by it, because, you know, tourists don't want to go on those beaches anymore, or
Yes.
sometimes even they don't even want to book the trips out because of
Mhm,
sargassum.
mhm,
And then you have fisheries being affected, which is, you know, they have huge reductions in, you know, some of the prime varieties of fish that they would normally be catching, and
mm,
or the boat engines being damaged from the huge
mm,
mats of sargassum. So
mm.
it's been causing quite you know, a whole host of issues from multiple sectors. And then, you know, it's the responsibility of the government at large to be able
Mm.
to clean it up and, you
Yeah.
know, try to recover from that.
But you're the only person in the Caribbean turning using sargassum to a positive end, right? You're the only person that's actually transforming sargassum into something that can be used for something else, right?
Well, we're not the only one. There are few other players in the space,
Mm,
and especially past 3 years, the
mm,
issue has blown up so much that there's a lot of international players actually coming into the region now, trying to address it in one way or the other. We have people looking at it for cosmetic use, looking at it for bioenergy as
mm,
well. But you know, a lot of these are still in the very early stages of the
mm,
R&D. For
mm.
us now, we are a place where we're fully moving out of R&D into full commercial production,
Okay.
in the process of getting that facility completed. And
Mhm,
then at the same time, we are looking at how can our collection and management approach,
mhm,
for recovering the sargassum,
mhm,
how can that possibly be adapted at a national level?
No,
to be able to
gotcha,
address some of the larger issues. So
gotcha,
yeah,
gotcha.
there's a lot being done.
Okay, that's good. That's good, man. So where's this sargassum coming from in the first place? Where exactly is the seaweed coming from?
So at first it was coming out of the Sargasso Sea,
Mm,
uh, that's in the North Atlantic
mm,
kind of region of the U.S. But now they identified a second source that's coming further um, in the region of the west coast of Africa, in that
mm,
region of the Atlantic.
mm.
Um, Between there and this suggests that some might be coming from off of the Amazon as well because of the nutrients that is coming from
Wow.
there. So right now, the big Sargassum belt, I believe that's what they're calling it, that they're monitoring from literally that western coast of Africa and how it travels across our
Mm,
Caribbean Sea.
mm.
Um, it takes roughly a year to actually travel from that location to us in the Caribbean. So, it's been growing or continuing to grow for at least a year by the time it reaches us. Yeah.
Wow. That's just how it's been flowing.
Yeah.
I'm hearing people complain about sargassum sourweed from as far up as New Jersey, in the
Yeah.
United States. Yeah, that on the entire eastern seaboard of the United
Seaboard.
States. Yeah, they've
Yeah.
been complaining about sargassum, man. And people don't really realize how much of a problem it really creates for the local communities there. Like you said earlier, you said it damages boats. It's
Yeah.
unattractive to tourists, and it's just generally unsightly and smelly, isn't it?
Yep. And also we had instances where some of our endangered marine life was also trapped and killed in it, like the sea turtles
Wow.
and some other marine species as well. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, so you're doing your part for conservation, really. You're really doing your part to clean up and to conserve some of the clean spaces for tourists and everybody else, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah, and that's one of the cool things about it is that, through our one specific action, which
Mm,
is kind of focused towards agriculture and food and nutrition, you kind
mm,
of have all of these other benefits that you would
mm,
naturally get occurring. And,
mm,
that's one of the principles that we like to practice in terms of mimicking nature. And, you see these type of things happening where you think it's not necessarily a one-to-one link. This
mm,
one interaction has a ripple effect, in the
mm,
wider ecosystem. So
mm.
yeah, same thing here.
So how much pounds of that sargassum can you process in a day? Or how does it work?
Uh yeah, in a day you could move one fresh ton in terms of like the creation of our product.
Mm,
Um, and that can be scaled. It all depends. That can be scaled up as much as say 20 tons. It all comes down to the infrastructure that's in place.
okay.
Obviously, on the commercial end, we also look at the level of demand that we have as well.
Mm,
That's a really important factor.
mm,
But it depending on what area you're in, whether it's the agricultural side, the bioenergy side, you could move um, several hundred tons of the material in a
mm.
day.
Oh, wow, several tons. Okay, okay. So who are your main customers? Who are your main clients? Where do you sell? Is it in the Caribbean or just Barbados alone or worldwide?
Yeah, right now it's mainly Barbados and the Caribbean. Primarily, the majority of it right now is still here in Barbados. The farmers being the primary targets, farmers and home gardening community.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we are have our eyes set on the wider Caribbean and internationally. We
Mm-hmm.
also have partners in the US and Cameroon who
Mm.
we've already sent over product to, and we're looking to make some huge inroads over there as well.
So
But
Cameroon.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, we have some other partners in Africa as well, Ghana, that are very interested in
Mm,
the products.
mm.
So we are just been focused in 2023 on, crossing the T's, dotting the I's so we can ramp up a lot stronger. And definitely looking forward for Caribbean Week of Agriculture coming up in October as well to
Ah, yes.
really, put a stamp on the region.
Yes, yes. How much are you looking forward to that Caribbean week?
Yeah, man, this is, I mean, we've been planning for as early as possible, trying to get all
Mm,
those dates tied down.
mm,
And we already started reaching out to different countries, not only about our products, but also the
mm.
initiative, our Journey to 1,000 Acres initiative
Ah, yes.
that yeah, we really want to see get embedded within the region, within our countries and communities, because being able to provide that level of educational component that's missing a lot of the times in how to build healthy soil. That is, we've been actually discussing this for about, say, 8 months or so, and a few people have got wind of it from some other islands, some colleagues of ours, and they were like, "This is amazing! Like, we need this in our country." And I'm just like, okay, I like the energy, but we just at that concept stage right now. We still have a few things to iron out, but yeah, we're really at a place now where having the pilot that's going to be launching in a couple of months and being able to have that framework to bring those other partners on board regionally, that's what we're looking forward to as well.
So tell us a bit about this 1,000 Acre Initiative. What is it all about? What are you trying to do with that?
At the core of it, one of the things we realized during this period of bringing organic agricultural products into the industry, we realized that there seemed to be this knowledge gap that exists with farmers not necessarily understanding how the soil health component works, what's the purpose of the beneficial organisms in their soil, and how to actually maximize the usefulness of them to their profitability, to increasing their yields and maximizing the efficiency of the nutrients that they're applying. So we noticed that this gap existed, and at the same time, with the governments trying to address the situation of food insecurity and nutrition insecurity especially, and trying to get a more regenerative approach in the agricultural industry, we decided that this is exactly what we're doing. This is exactly what we've been focusing on. And I myself had previously been teaching a course at one point here with our Ministry of Agriculture as well, along the lines of regenerative agriculture and living soil. So we decided, let's see what partners we could actually bring together to package this in a way that, we didn't want it to be like same old boring lecture or type of talk shop, but how can we actually set out this information in a way that is engaging, is informative. We actually have case studies of farmers on the ground that are implementing these practices. And then at the same time, being able to provide some of the farmers that are part of the core component of the initiative with those initial resources to get started, which may include products like our biostimulant and compost and these type of soil amendments as well, so that they can get off the ground running.
Okay. So how's it being received in Barbados? How's it being received?
Yeah, so right now, we are going to be launching the pilot in October, and we're going to be partnering. Yeah, we're going to be partnering with our Barbados Agricultural and Development Corporation, who they're the primary organization here that supports farmers, especially youth, getting into farming with the allocation of land, providing resources to actually prepare the lands for farming, access to seeds and plant material. So they're the primary organization for that, and they've been running a program called the Feed Program that is really been established to catalyze business in farming in Barbados. So while they've been doing that over, I think it started 2019 is when it was started. We noticed on our end that there's still certain gaps that they themselves weren't able to fill. So we reached out to them to see, hey, the approach that we're bringing to it is very, very data driven and results oriented, and we approached them, see if they would be interested, because our goals and objectives for the educational component of the program match what they say they want. So once we brought that to them and we brought down, this is what we're going to be delivering, this is how it's going to be structured, and how we could actually help to manage the hands-on approach with the farmers after that initial component, because we don't want it to be a case where you just run them through the program and then they're off on their own without any sense of direction or any particular guidance, but making sure that we can be alongside them, especially for those initial stages, till they get on their feet. So we have not only the like practical agricultural knowledge type of component, but we also look at farm business,
Mhm.
you know, so a financial component for managing your finances to managing how you actually sell the product. And then we even have a workshop. We call it the farm sprint workshop, that's focused on how you actually manage the farm physically. So from how preparing the soil, the maintenance, the post-harvest situation, and how do you actually, how you actually like even move when you're on a farm. How you actually plan out the steps and the processes and implement them in the most efficient and effective way. So you're not just on the farm taking 3 hours to do what should be done in 30 minutes. And especially for a lot of the newer farmers, it's something that they see is very valuable for them because when you're coming in, you have the passion for it. You want to produce some food. You want to be able to have a successful farm business, but you're not necessarily getting all those different components, and that's exactly what we focus on delivering.
I got you. So I'm trying to understand this. So you're asking the governor of Barbados to allocate to you 1,000 acres so you could have a farm to yourself, or how does
No.
So what? Explain the 1,000 acres to me, please.
So the 1,000 acres aspect, the farmers that we're going to be working with their program, the government is already allocating them land for their regular farming.
Okay.
What that 1,000 acres component is, we want to ensure that that's happening as regenerative agriculture, regenerative organic agriculture, and not just conventional practices using a whole set of synthetic fertilizers and pesticides and not caring about the biodiversity of the soil, but approach using proven and tested organic and regenerative inputs that allow them to, again, maximize the health of the soil, maximize how they manage and rotate their crops, and maximize the profitability as well.
I got you. So what you're saying is that this 1,000 acres is coming from the collective amount of farmers that are on Barbados already right now, and you're adding it up to 1,000 acres.
Exactly.
Okay, I got you. You plan on duplicating that in the rest of the other Caribbean islands as well. That's a good initiative, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Yeah.
That's good. And you said you have 1,000 acres already in Barbados allocated?
Right now we would be close to that in terms of the total number. They're about 400 to 400 already allocated, and then there are another 400 to be allocated. So the land essentially is there. It's just for those individual persons to be able to get their specific location sorted.
Gotcha. So I wish you all the best with that, man, because it sounds like a good initiative to be duplicated everywhere else. 1,000 acres, and you could do a lot with 1,000 acres, man. You're teaching them. So how does this tie into? First of all, you haven't told me the name of the product that you make from the Sargassum. What's the name of the product?
That's called the Supreme Seed Biostimulant.
The Supreme Seed Biostimulant. So I guess all of this soil regeneration is coming from that Supreme Seed Biostimulant, right?
Yes, coming from that, and we also have our other product, not made from Sargassum, but it's the Liquid Sunshine.
Liquid Sunshine.
Yeah. So
what's that made with?
So that's made from a compost crop, as we like to call it, called Tithonia. This is a plant that it actually mines minerals and bioaccumulates minerals from the soil within its cells and stores it in its cells. We actually use that plant and grow it in a regenerative type of environment as well. So improving the soil in which is actually being cultivated, as it pulls those nutrients up, we create the extract from the plant.
Okay, and that's the Liquid Sunshine. Huh.
Yeah.
What amazing! What made you think of the name Liquid Sunshine? What made you think of the name Liquid Sunshine? Why Liquid Sunshine?
Yeah, so the plant is a type of wild sunflower as well. So that was one aspect of it. And then it was actually, the actual story was, when I was looking for that name, I remember someone from school making a statement about liquid sunshine, and it just stuck with me. So that was what it stuck with me. But then when I wanted to find something for the product,
Mm,
when you look at the importance of sun for plant development, for photosynthesis, providing energy.
mm,
So and that's what the product did. I mean, when we started testing it, we had some amazing results of like reviving dormant fruiting trees.
mhm,
So you just got this like shock wave, this burst of energy
mhm,
in terms of the response from the plant. So
mhm.
yeah, it just went hand in hand to name it that.
Okay, okay. All right. Good, good, good. Liquid Sunshine. I like the name, Liquid Sunshine.
Thanks,
So,
thanks.
this is a 1,000 acre initiative. How is the government of Barbados really responding to your initiative? I mean, how are they invested in any way, shape, or form with this? Or this is something that you're doing on your behalf and pushing it forward?
Yeah, so again, right now in the initial stage, the key element of support we were looking for from them was in, for us being able to work with BADMC on it. That's
Mm,
that's the main thing, because they had all the different farmers coming in who would
mm,
be getting the allocations to the land and so on.
mm,
So the collaboration there was
mm,
was the perfect element.
mm,
We've actually partnered with NGO called the BECT, that's the
mm.
Barbados Environmental Conservation Trust,
Yeah.
and they're also supporting the initiative
Mm,
and being able to support the farmers for this rollout.
mm,
But what we are going to be evolving to in the next stages, as we go through our evaluation and monitoring period,
mm,
to see where we can make improvements and adjustments. The
mm,
broader aspect of it is also focused on creating a lot of farm and garden content
mm,
in a new um, as a new experience for the farmers, for the home gardeners within the Caribbean. One of the things that I you know kept hearing time and time again over the years was that there is not enough of our own content
mm.
teaching on these types of topics.
Yes.
You go on YouTube and you plug in and it's somebody from North America or Canada, or that's the majority of what you see.
Mm,
And you know while some of us, you still benefit from the general information,
mm,
it is still a different situation with the element, the climates that you would be dealing with, as well as the different products or resources you might have access to.
mhm,
Having that content being from your same country, from your same region,
mhm.
will go a long way in terms of the ability to relate to the content.
Yes,
So
yes.
we're actually going to be bringing a series of different gardening shows and programming as well, to help do a number of things. Not only, again, providing that general access to the information and knowledge base for those who are seeking it,
Mm,
but we want to help to elevate the perception and image of agriculture and the agricultural industry
mhm.
as a career, as a field for young people to want to desire and aspire to get
Yes.
into.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Because people don't typically look at agriculture as being very attractive and sexy. So how do you make agriculture attractive to younger persons to get involved in? Why did you get involved? What attracted you, and how would you get younger persons like yourself, or younger than yourself, I should say, involved
Yeah.
in agriculture?
Yeah, again, for me, it was that situation of, I had my health situation, and that plunged me into it. And then as I
Mm,
got into it, I realized I actually always had this deeper connection to it, because I had this connection with nature.
mm,
Again, growing up around my grandmother, being in the garden, it was always stuff that I love.
mm,
But in terms of seeing it as a career, as a business, as a viable opportunity, you know, if it's for me personally, and for Red Diamond Compost at large, to be an organization that could be able to set that example.
mhm,
So how we portray everything that we do, how we design it, how it looks, it has to has that appeal. It has to have that sex appeal to it.
mhm,
It
mhm,
have you know it has to have that certain characteristic to it, the storyline behind it.
mhm.
And even the things that we go after and we accomplish in terms of the different competitions and events, and continuing to reach higher platforms, all of that kind of culminates into the idea around what we do and the fact that we're doing it in the agricultural field. So it is trying to bring this new and fresh approach to it and encouraging others to be able to see those opportunities, because I would come in contact with various young persons who are pursuing one field or the other in agriculture, and I would get a lot of questions from them around how I went about doing what I did, and how what kind of advice I could provide to them.
Mhm.
And one of the key things again is in having a certain level of pride in the work that you are creating,
Mm.
and being very focused on everything you're creating. It is actually designed to provide value to someone else,
Yes,
to the
yes.
customer in essence. But you want to have that level of dignity in the work that you're doing, so that other people would be able to see that and respect it.
Mm.
And so as we're going to be coming together, working with other persons in creative industries as well for creating some of this content, that level of partnership, that partnership aspect is a big thing too.
Mhm.
Creative industries and the agricultural sector is not one that often, it doesn't come together enough.
No.
So we want to be able to bridge those gaps and work with the skilled and talented, creators that we have, in Barbados and around the region, to be able to bring a new look to the way agriculture is done. And I can tell you for sure, there's a lot of young people that are here for it, they're excited for it,
Mhm.
but it's to be able to give that visibility to them
Mhm.
as well.
Good, good, good. You making good waves, man. You're making good waves. I really appreciate what you're doing for agriculture. I hope it really it blossoms out and explodes throughout the rest of the Caribbean, especially as a 1,000-acre initiative. But more importantly, the Sargassum work that you're doing, because I can imagine a lot of other Caribbean islands too, where like their beaches cleaner from the Sargassum. You know,
Yeah,
you know.
definitely.
So tell me about a bit about some of your big successes with Red Diamond Compost. Tell me about some of your huge successes that you made, strides that you made with Red Diamond Compost.
Well, in the earlier years, the biggest ones would have been the competitions that I would have applied to, different startup and entrepreneurship competitions.
Mhm.
So for me, the biggest one would have been the Caribbean Innovation Competition.
Mm.
This is hosted by the Young America's Business Trust,
Mhm.
and I had actually applied to that program 4 times,
Wow.
to finally win it. And I appreciated every instance. I actually became a finalist in 2018 when I applied in 2018,
Mm.
and was a finalist at the event in Peru.
Mm.
And being able to win it finally in 2021, I believe
Mm.
that was, yeah. That was huge for me. Every step of the way, I continue to learn more and refine the business, and
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
keep bringing it again and again.
That's
Um,
persistence.
definitely. Then following that, we would have won. I would have won the um, Commonwealth Award, Innovation for Sustainable Development Award,
Mm.
and had the amazing honor of the Secretary General of the Commonwealth actually come. She was here in Barbados, and she came and visited with me,
That's
and came
Baroness
and
Scotland.
yes, and came and visited with me and saw where we were making the product and stuff like that. And yeah, that was a really that was an awesome experience.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's cool, man. That's cool.
yeah.
That's
And I
amazing, man.
mean, um yeah, now we're at a point where we've been able to attract, with all we've done, been able to attract um the interest of international investors.
Mm.
Very interesting company working in the circular economy space,
Mm.
right? Internationally, and yeah, we're now working with them and looking at how we can scale Red Diamond up to the next level.
Mhm.
And all of this for me for 2023 again.
Mm.
We were able to have the honor and privilege of being awarded Kingwood Award, which is part of our Barbados National Youth Awards,
Mhm.
for the work that I've been doing in the agricultural space and environment over the past few years. So yeah. it's been, you
An
know,
amazing 2023 for you at least.
yeah, yeah, and I mean it's not over yet.
Mm.
I was so excited to get the news this year that I'll be going to the One Young World Summit in Belfast.
Oh, okay. When is that?
Um, that's the first week of October.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm going thanks to the Audi Environmental Foundation. I'm one of their scholars,
Okay.
and I'm definitely looking forward to that entire
Mm.
experience and the people that we're going to be able to engage with and learn from. And again, being able to amplify the visibility of the work we're doing here in Barbados and the Caribbean, and hoping to come home with a lot more partnerships as well to help push forward everything that we're doing.
So what are you going to be doing there? This One Young World Conference in Belfast, Ireland.
Well, I'm still waiting to get the final news, hoping to be one of the speakers,
Mm.
one
Oh,
of the
okay.
delegate speakers.
Mhm.
But a big part of it is the workshops and networking opportunities
Mm.
that it presents. So you have people from all over the world that are going to be there literally. For the opportunity that I would have applied to get in through,
Mm.
we had, I think they reported between either 2,500 or 3,500 people that had applied. There were 15 of us from across the world that were
Wow.
selected under the Audi Environmental Foundation,
Mm.
and
That's
it
pretty
is,
selective.
yeah, and it's gonna be us with the Audi AG delegation,
Mm.
Bentley, Ellie, electric charging company,
Mm.
as part of our specific delegation. But then there are going to be a whole host of other camps dealing with some of the main issues right now that the world is facing, from the food crisis to climate change to mental health, poverty, education. It is one of these spaces where you're going to have entrepreneurs, companies, NGOs all coming together to see how we can learn from each other. But also there's going to be a lot of partnerships and collaborations coming out of it as well.
Good, good. Do you have any partners there in Barbados with Red Diamond Compost? Or is it just you one?
In terms of our partners, we work with all right, you're talking about in terms of my team
Yeah, your
specifically.
team. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a team of us, a team of four of us is a core team
Mhm.
right now. So myself, Chad Bristol White, Verlan Scott, um, and my sister Crystal actually.
Mm. Okay.
So we make up the
Family.
core team. Definitely,
Is she
definitely.
older than you or is she younger?
Older. I'm the youngest.
You're the youngest? Okay, okay, okay. She
Yeah,
supports you in everything that you do.
yeah,
She believes you.
definitely.
That's good.
you
That's good.
know
That's good to have family, man.
and then and my mom as well. you
Mm.
know
Okay.
so that's the core for Red Diamond. And then we have the support, and have had the support of organizations like the Caribbean Center of Excellence for Sustainable Livelihoods, Dr. Brandon over there, who's been doing work throughout the region.
Mhm.
I was really the first one that saw me and what I was working on, and was able to give me that entryway and support to for me to be able to move through all those different programs and initiatives I participated in. We have Export Barbados here,
Ah,
formerly
yes.
BIDC, and Export Barbados has been a tremendous support for us, especially with the research and development we've been doing. Them, along with their program in partnership with UNIDO, the Bloom Clean Tech Cluster, has really supported us in the past last 3 years to be able to get all of that groundwork done, all that heavy lifting started out.
Okay.
Yeah, hopefully it didn't leave anyone out. But I mean, there's a whole set of other organizations and partners that we always work with and always depend on,
So
especially. Yeah,
who's help? What were you gonna say? Especially who?
I was saying, especially in the environment that we are operating in, that's always important.
Okay, okay. So who is particularly helping you to scale up? Because you mentioned scaling up several times. So who is helping Red Diamond Compost to scale up to the next level? Because right now, I guess you're at a very basic local level, right, in Barbados.
Yeah,
Who's helping you
yeah.
to scale up to that next level?
Right. So that would be the partner that we're now in the process of bringing on board. At this particular point, I can't go into too much detail just yet.
Okay, gotcha.
But they're the key ones that is helping us in that process where they have a lot of experience working internationally, having operations in multiple countries and stuff like that. So yeah, we really
Dealing with Sargassum in particular, or dealing with agriculture as a whole?
not dealing with the Sargassum issue in particular. They operate in recycling other types of materials.
Oh,
So working in the circular economy space is where their focus.
okay.
But for the Sargassum issue specifically, yeah, that's primarily my brainchild in terms of how we approach that and how we develop these solutions.
Because that's how you came to my attention. It's sargassum seaweed. That's how you came to my
Yeah,
attention. Because I said I haven't heard of anyone else dealing with sargassum the way you've been dealing with, right? And then at that time, it became just probably I think about 4 years ago. It became a real problem in the Caribbean.
yeah.
Where it was washing up on beaches everywhere. It's become a problem, and you're the only person that I've seen that's actually using it for something positive. That you actually embrace the sargassum seaweed. I've never seen anything like that in the Caribbean before. I've seen in other places where people turn a negative into a positive, but you have
Yeah.
turned a negative into a total positive, man. That's something amazing, Joshua.
Thank you, thank you. I mean, I always saw it as that. That's the thing. I tell people all the time, because of the work that I'm doing, I don't see plant material, anything that's from organic material. I don't see it like how you might look at it
Yeah.
as just another thing or trash. For
Yeah.
me, I am breaking down compounds and nutrients and how can we convert this and apply this in a useful way. Yeah.
Yes. And everyone's been just complaining about gas, just complaining about it. No one's actually doing anything about it. You're the only person that's doing something about it. That should be commendable, Joshua. That's something commendable.
Thank you.
I really appreciate your efforts.
I thank you, and I must say there has been a process to addressing the sargassum issue that for many of us, especially those who are being negatively affected by it, has been a very long and arduous process where the research and understanding where it's coming from, how it grows, and these different types of things. That type of work has been the bulk of it. For less of two evils if you look at it. But for us, it was always the mobilization aspect of being able to recover it and being able to use it, for something good, for something beneficial.
Yes.
So while in the early years, if we look back at 2014, 2015, we were in the rooms when the conversations were being had with some of the bigger companies that had access to more resources, and the situation or challenge for them was, how do we know that it was going to keep coming back? And they don't operate in the scientific space. They're engineering and machinery and that type of world, and they don't deal with the marine environment and ecosystems and stuff like that. But we were saying at the time, hey, the scientists are telling us all the core factors that is contributing to it. There's no sign that those factors are going away anytime soon. So there's no indication that the sargassum will be going away anytime soon either. So it was first that hesitation and apprehension to be able to invest the money into the space, because especially when we're talking about dealing with it, addressing the issue at, say, a national level, that's millions of dollars of investment that have to go into play to establish infrastructure that doesn't exist. So certain people, they don't want to be the only people putting that level of investment into it, and not necessarily having a clear picture and idea of our plan as to what the next steps would be from that point. So there were definitely a lot of different hurdles to overcome, from just understanding the material to then how do we actually turn it into something profitable. But then how do we mobilize that? How do we get the infrastructure in place? So it's definitely something that has been evolving and slowly progressing over the years.
Okay, so tell me what's your thoughts on moving forward with the Sargassum and with Red Diamond Compost? What's your thoughts for 2024 and 2025 and building your company? What do you see next, moving forward?
To put it simply, it is being able to access as much as we can access and be able to deliver our product to as many corners of the globe as we can. We really kind of been in that, back in the lab hibernation phase, ironing out those plans and everything, getting everything fine-tuned as much as we can and prepared. And right now we're ready to hit the ground running in terms of our rollout. And the results we've been able to see from the improved lab analysis and testing and trials that we've been conducting with the product and looking at the product's performance, we have a really strong foothold on how far it can go and what it can do. So yeah, right now for us is gearing up to be able to recover as much material as possible and to be able to create as much product as possible, but also opportunity. We have a couple of other organizations, as I mentioned earlier, that are interested in looking at biogas digestion or looking at biofuel. So for us to be able to through our process, be able to recover material that is not, full of debris and full of sand and would need to go to the dump. Now you have clean material that can be used for numerous other purposes. Yeah, we'll be seeing how, we could, again, attract new partnerships to be able to direct some of that material to them, because it's definitely, with too much material for just Red Diamond to handle. But to be able to broaden the landscape and actually see a sargassum industry come into fruition.
Just keep growing, Joshua. Just keep growing. I really appreciate all you've done. Any final thoughts, Job?
Just towards encouraging persons to keep the eyes out for opportunity and then not letting it pass you by, despite how difficult or challenging it may seem. Again, you find a need that a lot of people have, you find a place that you can deliver value, and you definitely know that for a fact without a shadow of a doubt. Definitely pursue it. It may be hard, it may be a long journey, but the rewards are definitely going to come. And for us, being able to get to that place where we have the products and the inputs that people can actually grow clean food, can grow nutrient rich food, and have that type of environment around them to be able to impact health overall. That's where it's at for me.
That's it. Thank you so much. That's Joshua Ford, the Chief Executive Officer of Red Diamond Compost out of Barbados. He joined us here on the Line Vibe conversation. We appreciate having you, Joshua.
Thank you. Thank you for having me as well.
Thank you, good bud. Okay, that's a wrap. Let's close that off.